So we got the finalists for all the major awards. There's even been some like preliminary voting for different associations and whatnot. But here are the real picks and who they should be, courtesy of yours truly. Comeback player of the year. I'm a Browns fan, but obviously Joe Flacco didn't play enough. DeMar Hamlin's going to win this, and he won this once he was revived on that field last year. Let's be completely honest. But if I had to pick somebody, I'd go Baker Mayfield. Despite all the people who think I'm a Baker hater, coming back from where he was last year, he played on three teams last year. Didn't look good, but it's maybe a game or two, if we're being completely honest, to lead the team to the playoffs, to have, I think, statistically his best season. Only one that's comparable is 2020, and the numbers are basically the same, but you had the extra game, so a little more production. But Baker Mayfield deserves this one. Assistant coach of the year. This was a good one. Ben Johnson has done a hell of a job with that offense in Detroit. And then obviously the two coordinators for Baltimore, as they've been the best team for the majority of the season. Jim Schwartz in Cleveland, turning the defense up. Bobby Slowick, the OC. If I do this one, I'd say it's probably between Todd Monken and Jim Schwartz. And the reason that I say that is the Lions offense was really good last year, and the Ravens defense was really good last year, and Houston's offense was good, but I mean, it wasn't like top five good. And if I'm wrong, somebody will tell me that in the chat. I personally would go with Jim Schwartz. This defense went from like bottom 10 to top five in pretty much most of the major categories. Coach of the year. This is a really good one. You got a lot of good coaches on here. I think Sean McVay should be on here. Nobody expected them to do pretty much of anything. I personally, slightly biased. I'll go Kevin Stefanski. Obviously, the ton of injuries that the Browns dealt with. Nick Chubb, Deshaun Watson, your starting tackles on both sides. Your backup tackle who was playing better than your starting tackles. You lost two safeties. You lost multiple defensive linemen, so on and so forth. Five starting quarterbacks, won 11-6, and got to the playoffs. But I think DeMeco Ryans might actually get this one because there were zero expectations for them this year. Obviously, the Browns had some expectations, but not. They still overachieved on those. But like people were saying that Houston was gonna go two wins, 3 wins, whatever. If DeMeco Ryan gets it, more than deserved. Defensive Rookie of the Year. There was a stretch when it was Devon Witherspoon when he was going crazy. There was a stretch when it was Jalen Carter, and then there was a stretch when it's Will Anderson. I'd probably end up going with Will Anderson. He's a Pro Bowler this year. Completely changed the face of that defense in Houston, which was literally one of the worst last year. Jalen Carter, as the season went on, that defense got worse and worse. And I feel like his impact just didn't. It wasn't there, and that's kind of what you look at for defensive tackles. It's impact more so than numbers, so I'm going to go with Anderson. Kobe Turner had a really good year, defensive tackle as well, or edge, whatever he plays. Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, this is a good one. Gibbs balled out, but obviously he shared time. Sam Laporta set some rookie records. So did Puka Nacua, and C.J. Stroud led the league in passing yards a game, and I think touchdown to interception ratio. And he's going to get it because he is a quarterback. Although he did play amazing, I might go Puka. I think the wide receivers got to get more love. Other positions got to get more love in these awards, man. So shout out to Puka Nacua. I think he should get it. But I think C.J. Stroud gets it. And it's really a toss-up if you ask me. Defensive Player of the Year. It's Myles Garrett. It's Myles Garrett, and it's been Myles Garrett all year. I think he's going to get it. He's gotten all of the other defensive awards from PFF and Pro Writers Association, et cetera, et cetera. Realistically, I think this is a three-man race. 3 teams with 3 solid defenses. TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. TJ Watt has the most production, but as far as double-teamed or getting double-teamed, Myles Garrett and Micah Parsons or double team twice as much. I think if they had some of that same, or if they got the less or the smaller amount of attention that TJ Watt get, they would be up there as far as production as well. But Myles Garrett was on a team who was number 1 in defense for the majority of the year as far as total defense goes. Nobody games plans for him like or nobody gets game planned for like he does. He had the moment where he jumped over the line and blocked the kick, where they were sending two tight ends in motion to follow him, but he's consistently seeing tight end, tackle, running back, or tackle, guard, and tight end, like three players consistently. I think he's the best edge in the league. And if you're an OG and you think sack numbers are the end all be all, you're gonna think it's T.J. Watt, and that's fine. But those are the three best in the game: Watt, Parsons, Garrett. I think Garrett gets it this year. Offensive Player of the Year. With respect to Lamar Jackson, because he's probably the MVP, I don't think he should be in this discussion. I think Christian McCaffrey gets this one. Tyreek Hill, when he was on pace for 2K, was going to run away with it because he was going to break records. But CeeDee Lamb made it close enough in yardage and touchdowns that Tyreek Hill just wasn't a slam dunk anymore. And injuries played a part into that, and the cold weather with his quarterback being Tua played into that as well. So I'll probably go Christian McCaffrey. Led the league in rushing. I think he might have led the league in rushing touchdowns, or was like top two. The engine that makes that offense go in San Francisco. What can I say, man? He was the best running back in the game, the best weapon in the game this year. Shout out Christian McCaffrey. And MVP. I think the funny thing about the MVP this year is that it wasn't a year where somebody was just blowing everybody away. Like Patrick Mahomes had 50 touchdowns one year. The year that Tom Brady set the touchdown record. Aaron Rodgers had 40 touchdowns one year. Nobody had that year this year, which I think opened up the possibility of it being a position player, but this is a quarterback award. Let's be serious. And Lamar Jackson is going to win it. But if this was the year for a running back or receiver to win it, this would have been the year. And Christian McCaffrey definitely deserves it. That offense is completely different when he's missing. Or really, any one of those guys is missing. But he is the straw that stirs the drink there in San Francisco. But Lamar Jackson, he's going to get it because they just smacked good teams, fairly consistent. And this year, unlike others, the head-to-head matchups seem to be the determining factor because folks were thinking Dak, but he got smacked up by Purdy. People were thinking Purdy, but he got smacked up by Lamar. They said maybe it's Tua, but he got smacked up by Lamar. So Lamar's the best player on the best team this year, and that's kind of what this comes down to. He still had a great year. Running the ball, passing the ball. Numbers I don't think as good as his first MVP year, but shout out to him for winning the second MVP. Love Lamar Jackson, hate the Ravens. So I hope that Kansas City wins. But that's a different take for a different day. Peace.